Hmm. Not everybody can have the awesome mustache like Ryan. What a hipster. I bet you know coffee. He does. He does.
I was a barista for 4 years, bro. You know that.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that.
This guy knows coffee. I could tell by his mustache.
Minecraft repeats China to potentially restrict American-made movies. I wonder why. And The Last of Us Season 2 officially premieres. All this and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. I'll be your host today. My name is Ryan, and sitting across from me, as always, is the one and only Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, what's going on?
Sitting across from you, 50 miles away.
You know,
I actually, from where your direction is in your room, we're actually facing probably the same direction.
so you
Maybe.
are, we
actually,
are.
Actually, no, I'm facing north. Actually.
Oh, you got your back to me right now.
Yeah. Actually, we are not sitting across from each other, but rather back to back, 50 miles apart.
Bro can't even like look me in the eye when he talks to me. Bro's got to have his back all the way facing.
And using a camera, it's practically like a mirror.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to you with a mirror in my head.
It's like when you look at the back of your head when you get a haircut, he just.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
So
you do,
that's how I'm doing.
I can't even look at you when I talk. That's how I'm doing. You know, and that is about that's about the state of the world right now. So I can completely understand. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I've had
that's a norm. I never ask Ryan how he's doing.
No, bro.
And he proceeds to tell me anyway.
Yeah, I know. Bro asks what I'm doing, but never how.
How are you?
No, it's gone. I'm already.
When are you?
Where? Yeah, behind you.
No, I know that.
No, I'm doing all right, man. Just living life one day at a time. We had a fun little excursion yesterday. Shockingly, our viewers who never see us in the same room, we were in the same room almost all day yesterday. In fact, we even got dinner together afterwards.
We did, which was odd. I don't think I've ever, not to bash this place, but I don't think I've ever been into a Mexican restaurant that didn't look like a Mexican restaurant. This place didn't look like a Mexican restaurant. It was the millennial gray, like it's not derogatorily, but it was like very nice, but it had that dark gray with like very Gen Z-esque neon signs and just I don't know. It was odd to walk in there, and then I mean obviously you just got Mexican food like any other, right. But like the atmosphere just didn't fit the.
It was like. So like you said, neon green or neon teal signs. Imagine a sports bar. You walk in, it's all open. You got big TVs with golf on because the Masters are on right now. A bar, like booth seating everywhere. But instead of the neon signs saying something like cringy, they were all in Spanish. like that's what it was like. The walls were like this navy or like a black or maybe like a dark gray. Yeah, it was a weird. It was an odd like combo.
White baseboard, black booths, dark gray walls.
Yeah.
Teal neon sign, but it was laid out like a sports bar. So it was just very identity crisis, and then generic, authentic Mexican cuisine. The food was awesome.
Very good.
Yeah, very awesome. But it was just like, where am I? Am I in a Mexican restaurant right now? You could have fooled me.
Until they brought out the food. And then
I would have thought I was going to get a portion about this big, and it was going to be like $50 for a fillet or something.
Yeah, in it was also the area we were into, which makes me laugh. Is like we were like kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like it wasn't like we were like on the outskirts of like a decent, like not like a big city. So it's like kind of like you're not even like beyond the suburbs. It's just kind of like you're far outskirts of the biggest city near us. And it's just
and we're going to gatekeep this. We're not going to tell you what it was called, but it was actually probably just
for doxing reasons. We're going to gatekeep. We're going to gatekeep for our safety, my safety preferably, because I mean,
I don't plan to eat there
ever again.
But it was good. It's not like that was the reason I'm not going to eat there again. It's just like I'm never over there. Bro, it was just so happenstance that it was on the way back home.
This is going to expose where I'm from, but when we were on set, because we were actually scouting location and getting test footage for our short film that we're working on, that we will be on, like, actually producing in the next few weeks. And we're filming, we're like wrapping up our test concept footage, and I'm like, man, I could go for some Waffle House. We look it up, no Waffle House in sight, but this place, right? So we go to this place. We get, like, because we're going essentially the same direction until we like veer off from each other, because he's going north and I was essentially going east, or more south, I guess, at that point. There was one just down the road of where we went, but it just wasn't on Google. I was so mad.
It looked somewhat new, but yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, hey, look at that. There's one right there. Didn't even show up.
Like, what wasn't even like, it was a little more than 5 minutes down the road from where we ended up eating too. It's like we drove all that way just to go get food. Anyway, I guess we should hop into what you guys came here for. You're probably getting tired of hearing our problems and my problems. Waffle House. Anyway, moving on. Box office news. We got segment 1. As always, starting the show off, we go over the latest in this past weekend's box office results. Number 1, a Minecraft movie. The Jack Black and Jason Momoa-led video game adaptation peaks the box office charts for the second week in a row, earning another $80.6 million domestically. The film dropped a little over 50% in ticket sales, which for a blockbuster is not that bad of a mark. If you drop 50% and you still made almost $81 million, I think you're in a fantastic spot. Overall, a Minecraft movie has earned almost $281 million domestically and $269.6 million internationally, for a grand total of $550.5 million international in money made, I should say, internationally. So I should say this is all still estimate, because I know we've been on the show a couple of times, and then Box Office Mojo's like, update, and then immediately some of our stuff is wrong. So this is still on like the mid to late afternoon estimated numbers, because they're still counting from the last weekend.
You want to know what they are?
Look them up, and then I'm going to keep going, because I got a lot to get through with Minecraft.
I have it in front of me.
Okay. How far off are we from the estimate from earlier?
2 million.
That's not bad. More or less?
Less.
Okay. So we're at, what are they at? Almost two.
It's 70. It's 78.5 for Minecraft.
Not bad.
I'll run through and change the ones that you have.
Okay, cool. So anyway,
you're good for number 2.
After only 10 days in theaters, the flick has already surpassed Marvel's Captain America: Brave New World to become the highest-grossing film of 2025. Brave New World earned $410 million globally to date. So in 10 days, Minecraft has surpassed. How long has Brave New World been in theaters? Like 2 months. So a wicked feat.
9 weeks.
Just over 2 months. A wicked feat by Warner Brothers video game adaptation. This cinematic explosion for a Minecraft movie is not just great news for Warner Brothers, but for cinema as a whole. As just 2 weeks ago, things for Hollywood and box offices everywhere looked dire. Overall, revenues through March of this year were down by over 11% when compared to the box office returns through March of last year. So if you compare through January through March of 2024, from January through March of 2025 until a Minecraft movie, we were down 11% on the year, a terrible start to the 2025 box office numbers. However, with a Minecraft movie these last 2 weeks, 2025's numbers through March are up by half a percentage point. They went from down 11 to up a point, like almost a point, which is an insane. To jump 11.5 points is nuts in terms of a percentage of what we were down versus what we are now. So now 2025 is looking like a great year for cinema. All it took was 1. So with that being said, all good news right now. We look forward, okay? There's an impressive slate of movies coming out in the next, let's say, 3 months to the end of the year, including Ryan Coogler's Sinners, Disney's Thunderbolts. We've got Lilo and Stitch, so on, and whatever. Well, how do we feel about the rest of 2025's box office? Will it eclipse? Will it pass 2024? Will this be a year? Because the thing is, I didn't even include what the rest of, we're using Variety as kind of like, Variety and Box Office Mojo as our 2 kind of sources for our box office news, or at least our numbers. And according to Variety, 2025 until a Minecraft movie was over 40% down from 2019, which is the last big year for cinema. So are we going to see another 2019?
No, probably not. I think we've got a great year ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Of memeable memes. I think there's going to be, if I had to bet, 3, maybe pop culture sensations left in the year. Now, will some be longer lived than others? Yeah, likely. But I think we've got 3 more that'll bring in some decent money. Um, Lilo and Stitch, probably not even. I don't know. I can't tell if it's gonna be memed, but I do know that Lilo and Stitch will probably rake in a decent amount of cash. Um, and then I don't know. I can't even see that far ahead. But where'd it go? I had a schedule
Well,
for the next month or so here.
you have
May
Fantastic
2.
Four, you have Superman.
Yeah.
Continuing on to that list, going
Um,
down.
there's a Pride and Prejudice 20th anniversary re-release.
Oh yeah, that'll get him.
That'll get them. We've got uh sorry, I'm taking a little bit. Thunderbolts is going to be coming out. They are re-releasing Monty Python and the Holy Grail to a limited select theaters. Can you believe that?
No,
The 50th anniversary
of Monty Python. That
of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's awesome. That might have to be on the schedule.
is going
I'm
going to
scrolling
see
through
Monty
here.
Python in theaters.
I think that would be cool. I think people. Do you think people would dress up for that? Straight up.
I mean, like, so in terms of like what you mean, like a suit and tie, or like the way they dressed up for like Dune with like riding the worm. Like,
I would say they come as knights with coconuts.
yes, I would love to see it. Please,
Yeah.
yes, I'm
Full
down.
knight army. And a little trivia for you guys. I'm gonna get a little sidetracked here. You can get knight's armor and a shield from like a Love's truck stop. Like Love's has some crazy stuff. You can if you order it, or I think if you order it, but I've seen a knight's shield at the very least, and I thought I saw the torso piece
From
at a Love's.
Loves.
Yes. But I thought I saw that. I know there's shields. I know you can get a little Templar cross shield, a knight's
What
shield.
we
I
got
don't know.
selling at the local Bucky's.
Not that. Not that.
That's what I want to know. If I could get like a full plate of armor from Loves, what can I get from Bucky's?
Um, corn beaver nuggets. Got beaver
No.
nuggets.
Getting us back on track. Now that we're still talking about like the whole point of where we got in this conversation, we're talking about like, will 2025 be a big year because of, it's easy to say that after one. Now that the rest of the year is set up to be as great as it is with the rest of the releases, with the superhero movies, the correlation is like the more hyped superhero films come out, usually the better the year, right? Like
Yeah.
Captain America Brave New World, which was overall just kind of like a meh film and had some decent marketing, made almost 500 million. You know, like, so what's Fantastic Four going to get? What's James Gunn's Superman going to get, right? So I really ask this mainly. It's been a long time. I mean, it's been almost 2 years since we've had a real like cinematic event. And I would say like the last one was Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
We talked at length on the show about not facilitating that, because the thing is that you can't make it happen. That was something that the biggest thing today is internet culture, right? Like internet culture perpetuated that. That was something that was born organically, and that's why both films almost made $1 billion. So, one, I think Barbie did make $1 billion. I don't think Oppenheimer crossed that mark, but it got real close.
Minecraft gonna hit $1 billion.
It's 550 right now, or right around 550. So
Halfway there at week 2.
yeah, in 10 days, it took 10 days to get to that point. So who knows? Who knows? I would, to be honest, it'd be really funny if it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is that like, then this actually leads it to the next question. So back to Minecraft, we have to talk about what's going on in theaters. We have to, because
I guess so. Hold on, I would like to mention something that pertains to the theaters. I'm looking at Box Office Mojo here.
Okay.
After the first week, 26 theaters picked it up, or at the very least, 26 more theaters. So there could have been theaters that only showed it for 1 week and then took it off, but there were enough to offset how many who had taken it off in the first week, which is probably little to none. But 26 more. So there are theaters out there that waited a week and likely missed out on that first viewing.
that
But
has to be coming like like what we were discussing is like, will it be good? Will it not? Like, and the thing is, no one cares if it's good or not. It's because the joke. That's why people are going to see it.
yeah,
But like,
it just makes me wonder if those 26 theaters that like me, I know where other theaters are from like my hometown. I would go to the other one. Hell, they
yeah.
might be nicer.
Hmm.
And if my buddies are in my buddies are up north or in Richmond, I'm going to Richmond
Yeah.
to watch it with them. So these 26 theaters, it's just something that I think about. I was like, dang, y'all really missed that one. I don't know where they're at, but
Yeah. And so to go back to the question, and this is actually an important because that's
yeah,
an interesting like dynamic to also add into this as well, is like more theaters are hopping on this bandwagon and on this train. So because the money is there. For those who don't know what we're talking about in terms of when I say the Minecraft situation at theaters, essentially children, that's who it is. It's children and teenagers are showing up to a Minecraft movie
yep.
and just slinging popcorn and food everywhere and just essentially treating it like a rave at this point.
Well, that's not even the worst.
No, but that's like the best way to describe it, just in broad
I've
stroke.
I've seen videos of live chickens in movie theaters. Because if you're not aware of what happens in the Minecraft movie or in Minecraft, is there's an off chance that sometimes there's a baby zombie that rides a chicken, and it is called a chicken jockey. And that is something that Jack Black says in his Jack Blackism way of, and Ryan can give you an example if I beg him.
Continue.
Okay. So the joke is, let's bring a live chicken to the viewing. Yeah. And so there's videos of this live chicken being held up when Jack Black says
Chicken jockey. He says it
yeah.
perfectly.
So yeah. Um
The thing is,
and
I have so much reservation for it now is because like 2 weeks ago it was hilarious. Now it is so overplayed.
yeah.
Like even to
Yeah.
me, I'm like, ugh. So I'll hit you with one, but
So yeah, chicken jockey. There you go.
chicken
There's a little bit
jockey,
better.
yeah.
But it is at this point played out. And the question is, yeah, well, there's no question to it. We have to talk about this because, yes, 26 theaters added it this past week. However, there are many theaters that are fed up with the live chickens and the mess and the destruction that come with these kids, as Ryan puts it, because he's old, but like college student to high school age um, individuals just coming and just tearing this place up. There was in that same theater with that same chicken, the guy who was videoing it said, that was my first showing of Minecraft. I still haven't seen the whole movie because the manager warned him when the movie started. He's like, look, I know what y'all are here for. If you make a mess, you're out. And the whole theater gets kicked out. And they were quiet the whole time. They didn't do a thing until the chicken jockey scene came up. And then it went crazy. And the chicken came out, and the manager was like, get out. And then
Oh
they all had to
no.
leave. They all had to leave.
Dude,
So,
I mean, well, you got police presence at these theaters.
yes.
You've got like my favorite story of the whole thing so far is, have you seen Jack Black's appearance at one of those theaters?
I don't think so.
Jack
No.
Black made a surprise appearance pre-screening of a Minecraft movie, like pickaxe in hand, wearing a helmet. You know how he is, right?
Yeah.
He shows up and he essentially says, please be respectful. And then he hits him with like a chicken jockey and then he like walks away, right? So
Okay.
my favorite, like I love it so much because I feel like his publicist, his agent, and like Warner Bros. And like AMC and all these different like execs, Regal, all of them. Jack, you gotta say something, bro. You gotta. It's you that they're making fun of. You gotta. And so it's just like, I just imagine that they were like, please just tell these kids to stop. And so he's just like, front of the movie theater, like full of children, like legit, like under 10, and like all the way up through college, like students, all just sitting there going, it's Jack Black, and Jack Black sitting there holding a pickaxe, wearing a Minecraft helmet, like a mock Minecraft helmet, going, don't make a mess. Like it's just so it's such a funny image and I love it so much because it's just so like it is just the times. Like sometimes I wake up and my waking life is stranger than like the ones that I live in my head. I'm a constant daydreamer. I dream every single night. Like my the way I see the world is like very vivid in like my imagination. Sometimes reality is stranger than what I could ever conjure up in my like pebble-sized brain. It's just funny. It's so funny to see stuff like that. It's just again, Jack Black, don't make a mess in this theater. Chicken jockey sits down. And it's just like, what are you doing?
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
I'm being hyperbolic with him saying the line, but like, who knows? Anyway,
I don't know what I would do. I'd be like, who's that guy? That's not him. That's I don't believe it.
dude, like I feel like I try not to like attach myself to celebrities, right? There are a few like I'm such like I love Doctor Who. Like I'm like I know that like labels me. I look like a Doctor Who fan. I get it, but I love Doctor
You
Who.
look like you know coffee too,
I do know coffee.
which we were talking about before we started. It's like that
They heard
mustache
it too.
makes
They
you.
got it because I got it on
Yeah.
recording. So, but my favorite Doctor is Peter Capaldi. He's the 12th Doctor. I don't care how much you grimace. I know the writing wasn't great, but Capaldi was fantastic. Jake, you're giving me the eyebrow. Those who know
I
Doctor
don't know
Who, I've
anything.
when I've told people that 12 is my favorite Doctor, I've gotten just like that because the stories are not as good as previous iterations, but the actor is so good. I would probably freak out minorly in front of Peter Capaldi. I'd fanboy out for Peter Capaldi. But like I feel like Jack Black, I'd be like, hey, Jack Black. And then I'd be like, and not be over it. It'd be like, oh, it's so cool. You sit over there. But it'd be like, I paid a ticket. You know, I paid $12 to sit in this seat. Didn't get popcorn because I'm trying to save money. Cool. There's Jack Black.
Start throwing stuff at him.
Yeah, not like big things, just like little kernels, just to see.
But he's got longer hair, doesn't he?
It sticks.
Yeah, it would just stick.
He'd never
See
know
how much you could load up. Yeah, see how much you could load up before you notice.
He goes like
Anyway.
this, just popcorn flying. Anywho,
Don't make a mess.
yeah, Jack. Anyway,
Jeez.
moving down the list because I think we're done with Minecraft. We're going back on our no fun police cinematic PSAs. Don't make a mess in a movie theater. Leave those poor attendants alone. Everyone's trying to have a good time.
Leave the poor chickens alone.
I would love to see the chicken brain in like the perspective of the chicken during that scene. It's just held up, giant man, chicken. You know. Anyway, sorry. Again, pea brain. Moving down the line, number 2, Jake. King of Kings finishes second in the box office with earning a hefty total of $19 million. Released from faith-based and oriented Angel Studios, which released The Sound of Freedom, which was a controversial like child like trafficking, like anti-child trafficking ring film that caught a lot of flack from random sides of the political spectrum. That studio released a animated feature called the King of Kings, which followed a youthful Charles Dickens as he recounts the life of Jesus Christ, and he narrates it, and it's all, you know, who the film stars Kenneth Branagh, Uma Thurman, Mark Hamill, Pierce Brosnan, and more, which is an absolute stacked. Like I had no idea this was a thing until I saw Mark Hamill post a really low quality, like I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like widescreen to hell trailer for it on his, because I follow Mark Hamill because again, nerd, and he posted something about it like the day it released, and I was like, why is he in that? This film made $19 million in its first weekend in theaters, which is absolutely insane. While critics are conflicted with a tomato meter of 63%, audiences are in love with the faith-based programming, giving the animated feature a rare A+ cinema score, A+, which is crazy. What probably helps is Angel Studios did a Kids Get In Free campaign, which saw families from around the nation receive free tickets for their children with the purchase of an adult ticket. Now, I don't know how much that extended, if that was like, oh, if one adult buys and you have 4 kids, all 4 kids get a free ticket, or if it was one for one kind of thing. But regardless, Kids Get In Free or Kids Go Free campaign, family-oriented film. People went. People really like this film. What's going on with the faith-based programming, dude? Like, it was like there was none, and now this is our 4th week in a row.
Yeah, politics. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to attribute it to other than, I I don't know. Maybe they timed it right. Maybe they just were working on the faith-based programming the past few years, and they're like, "Yeah, we gambled, and the red was elected, and now we can air our." I don't know, man.
Angel
I don't know what
Studios
the
is sitting in
reason
the
is.
corner, like covered in shadow after what was I already forget their last film that they did. The Sound of Freedom, like all shunned, and they're like, if the Republicans get back in, all of a sudden, like Trump wins, and they're like, and they gotcha, and they just like
Yeah.
release it real quick.
Yes.
They've had that thing locked and loaded for 4 years.
Yeah, they've been sitting on it. They've been waiting. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but maybe it's just dude. I'm at a loss. I have no idea. I don't know why the past 4 weeks have had faith-based films, but it it works. I mean, we haven't necessarily seen them. Uh, I mean, The Chosen, Last Supper Part Two, and then you might not have it on the list, but I'm going to spoil it. Number 6 is also The Chosen, Last Supper Part Three.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there now. Obviously, it's not top three like its siblings, Part Two and Part One, but given the other films to go watch, one being an animated, and then the other one being a Minecraft movie, that would probably be the reason why.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you look at what's in front of part 3. You've got 4 of the top 5. Spoiler are new releases with a Minecraft movie at number 1.
yeah,
So,
it's gonna be hard, but they're still staying
I,
6.
like, yeah,
So
the
yeah,
chosen one, the first part is 14th. The first part of this 3-part, like I guess, series finale has made 19 million.
yeah,
The sequel part has made 10, almost 11 million, and now part 3 has made 6 million. And then outside of that, Angel Studios drops The King of Kings, which makes almost 20 million.
yeah.
What is
So
happening?
I mean, obviously, from Part One to Part Three, people aren't gonna go to the theater every week unless they're like diehard for The Chosen Last Supper. Because I mean, going out to the movies 3 times once a week, it's a little taxing on the pocketbook for many families and households out there. So I could see why that they start waning. Um, but that I mean, you really find out who your diehard fans are in that part three.
Mm-hmm.
That 6 million is those are the fans.
You've got
Um,
upwards of 40 million earned from a TV show releasing to theaters consecutive in 3 consecutive weeks, and then almost 20 alone. So you've
yeah,
got over 50, almost $60 million just in faith-based programming in a month.
that's the animated effect. I think the Kings of Kings has.
Right.
It has that
Kids.
leg up being animated.
I guess like that asks a more important question is like, are families like, because when was the last like really true family oriented flick? Like when was that? You know, like Moana, was that it? Was it Moana 2? Because that made 1 billion or almost 1 billion. But it's like,
Family oriented.
you
I
know what I
mean, you
mean?
could argue Snow White.
But you don't like, I just don't remember the last like, and I feel like I'm overlooking one very recently, but it's like
Paddington in Peru.
maybe that one fell off the face of
Dogman.
the earth. I haven't, yeah. But it's just I don't. I feel like there's
Yeah.
more of a an outcry for this kind of film. With if The King of Kings is succeeding, right? Like the same audience that would take that's like more conservative, or just more religious in general. They don't have to be conservative to be religious, right? That more
Yeah.
religious audience, if they're taking their kids to see Mark Hamill, Pierce Brosnan in a Charles Dickens narration of Jesus Christ, they're going to take their kids to see Dogman, right? So
Yeah.
does this like beg the question of like, are we missing out? Are chains, our theater chains, production houses missing out on this more the animated, the old time, the tried and true family animated film? Like think like Spirit, think like The Iron Giant, think like all these films that back in the day were a dime a dozen. Now you don't really see as often.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think like How to Train Your Dragon is a good one. Like I mean, it's dragons, right?
Mm.
A dad can get behind it. I'm sure he likes Vikings, right? I mean, Vikings and dragons are cool. Dad's gonna want to go see How to Train Your Dragon.
I love that
Um,
imagery is so funny. I don't want to see
I
no
mean,
movie, kid. Go take your mom. And he's just like, but there's dragons. And
Vikings.
dad just like,
Yeah.
just slow turns.
I mean, I'm gonna be if and when if big if and then when having kids and then I hear about the movies. I mean, if I was told Viking and dragon, the same sentence, dude.
Get in the van, kid. We're going.
Get in
Like,
the
you know,
van, man. I'm on it. I'm in. I'm totally in. Now you start talking about what the heck is a Minecraft?
yeah.
No, probably not. There's gonna be a level of that. I know when we get older,
Bro, no,
there's
I'm
gonna be
telling
something
you,
new.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think our generation is so like the thing is, the reason why we see this cringe stuff with like millennials and Gen Xers, especially like beyond that, is because we grew up with the technology that they were adults when it came out, right? So it's
Yeah,
like I don't think that we're going to have that same curve. I think that because we're so technologically based and it's rooted like I was having
maybe.
a philosophical debate is genuinely to have when does like your phone stop being seen as an accessory and start being seen as like an appendage? Like start seeing
You
like
have to. Well, at this point, you have to have them.
that's what I'm saying. And so it's like for I think it'll be us and Gen Alpha. I think is what's after us is because we're Gen Z. Shock. I know our older audience, the one person or the two people between 38 and 45 who watch us. Yeah, we're Gen Zers. Okay, deal with
Yep.
it. Deal with it. But the Gen Alpha is even more so, right? So it's like when we,
Yeah.
especially when the next generation comes of age, when will that? I have thoughts like this all the time. It's like when will that curve? And so it's like I don't think, and now this is way off topic, but it's just like I genuinely like that I love topics of conversation like that. So I don't know if we'll have that type of thought with like our kids like being like, oh, let's go see a Minecraft movie. What's that? It's like I you know what I mean? Like, but
Well, like, and from my point, I thought it would be like there's gonna be the next Fortnite or whatever that I'm not gonna play as I'm gonna dox like I'm 23. Like in the next 7 years when I hit 30, I'm not even sure if I'll be playing video games anymore. Like, yes, I probably will be, but like I have no idea what I'll be doing in 7 years. No clue. A clue in my mind. We could get, blown off the face of the earth. I don't know. So, um,
according to this released CIA documents, apparently aliens are turning Russian soldiers to stone. I don't know if you
well,
saw that. So who knows what'll happen?
no,
It,
yeah, Medusa.
yeah,
Maybe
no,
it could be a little Greek.
you know how like all those documents became declassified and whatever. Apparently, it's
Yeah,
going around the internet now, and it could. I saw it, said that's weird, and scrolled. So this could
yeah.
be so fake. But apparently, the CIA released like they declassified a document, and it recounts the story of like 23 Russian soldiers going to check out a UFO crash, and then all of them got turned to stone in a firefight with some extraterrestrial being.
So they had some kind of stone gun.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what happened, but that's apparently to your point. We could be wiped off the face of the earth. Aliens could just say stone, and then we
Yeah.
just done. So
Well, I mean, but still, there's going to be in 7 years the next Fortnite that I'm not going to play, that I'm not going to understand. And I want to leave off. I listened to a podcast about this new documentary that opens the world of teenagers and their phones and their usage of phones. So it's wiretap, but not wiretap, but like screen record everything that they do for a whole year. And they made a documentary about it. And it's kind of like you're supposed to watch it with your parents. And it's not going to be, it's not, I mean, it's probably going to be a little awkward, but it's meant to, because parents don't know.
hmm.
Nowadays, they really don't know what their kid is doing,
Hmm.
at the very least on their phone. They may know where they're at, but they don't know what they're viewing. Um, and it's intrigued me. I had my dad actually get Hulu, and so we're gonna watch it um, together, just because I think it's called. I think it's social studies. I think it's a docu series on Hulu by FX, and it just basically opens that door because it's not even a window. I mean, the door is shut. Parents these days do not know what is on a kid's phone, what's on TikTok, and it goes into the big P word, the
Mm.
pornography, like when was the first time that you guys had found that? It like goes into that, and parents are shocked because it's way earlier than they thought it was, and that's just the way the world is now. The internet is where you learn everything.
Yep.
I mean, in an instant.
I hear
So
the term like back when the internet was the wild wild west. It still is. It's just got a brand new paint. Like it's got a new like paint
yes,
job. It's the same thing. It's just
yes.
now there are certain safeguards for certain apps that we want to say safe, but it's not. Like
No, no, and there's ways around it.
yeah.
And I mean, this Wild Wild West has never been more. I mean, like you said, new paint job, but the paint is made out of like an addictive substance. Like
Mm.
the point of every app you open is to hold you for as long as possible. It is made for engagement with engagement in mind.
Yep.
It is a drug in that sense. And it's like 6 or 7 episodes, and they go through like that cycle, and at the very end they all reflect on it, and it's like I wish all the kids were in this group, and they're like we wish we could just have conversations like this more often, like no phones, and we're all just people. And it's like, well, you can, right? And they just we wish we just didn't have our phones after this whole year of being under the microscope, under the lens, and we realize like this is the way normal teenage life is. And then they're like, but without a phone, without the ability to text, at the very least, message, they're like, will we even be remembered? Like
Oh
as soon
yeah.
as you lose the phone, and I agreed with him. I'm like, if I didn't have my phone, I'm moved away for a job. Like I have no friends up here.
Yeah.
That's it. Like we don't mail. Like Ryan and I, despite popular belief, do not send love letters to each other.
You
But
need to check your
that and that
mailbox.
I need to probably check my mailbox more. But I completely agree. It's like if I didn't have my phone for 2 months, I don't. People would probably, if they cared enough, drive up here and knock on my door because they didn't know what happened to me. But like that's a fact. I'd be forgotten. Those who didn't care enough and never saw from me again would have no idea.
Mm.
And it's never been realer, and it's going to be even worse 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
Like you said, appendage. You have to have a phone nowadays,
Yeah.
or else you'll be forgotten or passed up, or you know never talk to anybody ever again. Like that's how the world is. You have to, at the very least, direct message somebody.
Yeah. And before you at home
Anyway,
start complaining that we're not talking about movies, this is beyond the screen, which could be any screen. It's subjective. And you got two dudes who studied film and media, and we're talking about
yeah,
media. So this is what you get.
but
Okay.
it's a docu series. Watch it with your kid or watch it with your parents. It is. I haven't seen it, but the whole podcast was with the director, and she was talking about it. And she has a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old. It was very fascinating just from the podcast. So I
That
look forward to it.
genuinely might be my next watch.
There's
Um,
your homework,
yeah.
folks.
Come back next week. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and get through the rest of the top five real quick. Coming in at number 3 is 20th Century Studios. Remember when they were Fox? Not anymore. 20th Century Studios espionage flick The Amateur, starring Rami Malek. The film's IMDb synopsis is, quote, when his supervisors at the CIA refuse to take action after his wife is killed in a London terrorist attack, a decoder takes matters into his own hands. And I really like the trailer for it. It looks really cool. Like, you're not
Yeah.
built for this, kid. It's just Rami Malek. You're Mr.
Yeah.
Robot himself. You're not built for this. You don't have the spine to murder people. And he's just like, well, I'll just screw my morals. I'll just break a glass pool that's on top of a skyscraper and just let him fall to his death. I don't have to pull a trigger. And he does that. Apparently, he turns into like a grade A like serial killer, but didn't have this anyway. Moving on. The film has earned 14.8 million domestically and 17.2 million internationally, bringing I should say globally, with the international total being 32.2 million up to this point. Well, while a great start, the reported budget for the film was around 60 million, so there's still work to be done in theaters, but a decent start internationally for the, as they call it, an espionage flick with Rami Malek from 20th Century Studios. Coming in at number 4, Warfare. A24 returns to the box office top 5 with another war-torn cinematic experience with director Alex Garland. The film has earned $8.3 million in its first weekend. The IMDb synopsis for this one is, quote, a platoon of Navy SEALs embark on a dangerous mission in Ramadi, Iraq, with the chaos and brotherhood of war retold through their memories of the event. Interestingly, and a rather important note, the film is also directed by Iraq war veteran Ray Mendoza, as much of the story is based on Mendoza's experience as a real Navy SEAL. So received well by both critics and audiences, earning a 93% on the tomato meter and an A- cinema score, people are enjoying the wartime film. I was talking to, we've mentioned him on the show multiple times, Donnie. We made fun of him last week. Donnie was telling me he and his girlfriend went and saw this, and he called it brutal. It's real. Like, there's a lot of, the whole film is just struggle. And it makes a lot of sense when you look into where it comes from. Like, it's a real life story being told. So I just thought that was real interesting from someone who's, like, listening to Donnie, because he's like, he grasps stories. Like, he lives in a narrative. And so it was really interesting to hear his perspective on the film. The film stars DeFaro Wuate, Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, and so many more people. It's got a pretty stacked cast for an A24 film with a $20 million budget. So still needing a little under $12 million to break even, but another film that's done well. In rounding out the top 5, we have Universal and Blumhouse Productions' Drop. Remember that film we made fun of like 3 months ago, talking about their really bad trailer that looked kind of silly? Yeah, that film actually did pretty well. It earned $7.3 million domestically and a little over $2.5 million internationally, which is a giant yikes for me, because that is not a good number from its global. I keep putting internationally. That's a global number. To rake in a solid international total of $10 million. Global was 2.5. International overall was $10 million. Operating on an $11 million budget, nobody at Universal or Blumhouse is really worried. They're not sweating by this kind of small number from overseas audiences. But what is surprising from Drop is the reception. Critics rather enjoyed the film, giving a tomato meter of 83%, which is pretty good. While audience were a little more skeptical, they still reviewed the film with a B on CinemaScore, which is good. That's not bad. Like, it's a little bit below average, but it's not terrible. This is good reception for a film that we made fun of. So I guess just after our initial thoughts following the trailer, what do we think about this positive reception? We haven't seen it yet. Did we judge it too early?
No, I think it's still one of those like Invisible Man cheesy thrillers. Um, I saw Invisible Man with like, I'm gonna spoil it. It's a suit that makes you invisible. This is several years back, so you can't get mad at me for spoiling something that's that old. But it's like a suit that you put on that makes you invisible, and that guy's like murderous and trying to kill this lady. It was cheesy as all get out, and that's what I think this one is. But I haven't seen it. But it's just what it seems like from the marketing. I only ever saw one ad, and it was the same video where she just gets sucked out of the building
I hate it.
every
I
time.
know.
Every time. I don't understand what causes that. She had to have been thrown.
It's in
by
reverse or something. Like, it just doesn't look. It doesn't look right. It, like, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the whole building has to be coming down to be thrown at that velocity out the window.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's why it's called Drop.
So, well, it's airdropping messages. That's why it's called Drop, is because the serial killers like airdropping messages, and the thing is, they have to be close to her to do that. So it's like somehow they're there with like a connection to someone who's at her house because she's on a date in like the skyline of New York. She's like in like the top of this penthouse on this date. Who is this lady? She's a single mom. Like, anyway, director for Chris. Sorry, go ahead. What?
Well, the guy she's on a date with, doesn't he? I don't know. Maybe he's got the money.
Oh, that's the other part too, is that she's got to kill him. That's why she's being blackmailed. Like, we'll kill your kids and his babysitter if you don't kill your date. And then the date's like, I guess she eventually rats, because the thing is that they were like, don't tell him. And then literally like 2 seconds later in the trailer, the date that she's not supposed to tell was like, he's got to be nearby for him to drop box. It's like, okay, so you told him. like,
yeah.
Instantly. It's like, so he knows. And so it's like they're walking around, and then she gets chucked out a window and grabs onto a drape, and it looks really, really cheesy. The thing is that you talk like I understand like if it's not your style of film, that would be why like you'd give it that reception that you gave it. Happy Death Day was fun, and that is who that's the director Christopher Landon, combining words there. He helmed that film too. So Happy Death Day creator is also over Drop, and I don't know. It just seems like it'll be. I think it could be fun. I just think it looks too goofy. Like you don't go into it trying to take it seriously. You can't. And with that, winners and losers. Who do we pick in? We kind of already done this, but I'm curious if there's another one on the list before we move on.
Odd enough, there's one that's ranked 15. I'm just looking down here because it's the only one in the sea of red. Because obviously, when you get past 10, the loss over win, the grosses immediately tank and they lose every single week after that. Except number 15, it gained 144% this week. And it's The Ballad of Wallace Island, I'm going to say. Synopsis is: an eccentric lottery winner who lives alone on a remote island tries to make his fantasies come true by getting his favorite musicians to perform at his home. And then there was a small other synopsis when I look up on Google. Old tensions resurface when former bandmates who were former lovers reunite for a private show at the island home of an eccentric millionaire. So this is like somewhat of a romance movie, I
Those are not the
guess.
same thing. Those are wildly different synopses.
I would say that no, I think it's both sides. So the
Oh.
first one on Box Office Mojo tells it from the lottery winner or the eccentric lottery winner or the millionaire's point of view, where he lives on the remote island and he tries to make his fantasies come true. Whereas the Google synopsis is telling it from the bandmate's perspective, where, oh man, I have to come together to get paid, but she's my ex and I have to do this at this eccentric billionaires or millionaires island. So it's odd that it was told backwards from both points of
Yeah.
views on two different synopsises, but you get it both perspectives into one. There you go. There's two bandmates in a band, they're exes, and they have to play for an eccentric billionaire or millionaire, and that's the story. Who knows?
Brother just likes the gossip. He's like, if I
They
bring them back together.
well, I don't know. He's probably dying, and they probably fall in love again or something. You know, the generic whatever. But it is like 212 theaters picked it up. It's at 253 theaters, which is likely why it gained so much in the gross on its third week. It's just, I guess, a little odd on the third week. The 200 theaters picked it up, but big win for them, I guess. In the top five, though, it's um, Warfare is probably something that's piqued my interest, I guess, from the nitty gritty from our friends' um, recommendation. I know a lot of guys at work where, and I'm not gonna make fun of them, but the guys at work are like, oh man, the Beekeeper was so good. And then a Working Man. Have you seen the Working Man or a Working Man yet? Jason Statham, he's such a good actor.
He's one
And
of
it's just like
us.
he's blue collar man, you know, and it's and these and I mean there's a place for those movies. Like I can get behind just an action movie where he's killing people. Like that's Jason Statham movies. Like there's a time and place. I'm gonna watch a Jason Statham movie when I want to watch a Jason Statham movie. I there's an emotion for that. Um, I just think it's funny because they don't watch much more than Liam Neeson, Jason Statham, or uh, one of them, and I won't drop the name, but he says that Reagan. There's a film called Reagan that came out, and
With
that's
Dennis Quaid. He's
Dennis
playing,
Quaid,
yeah.
and he says that that's the best movie he's seen like ever. And I kind of, but in me being the film snob that I am, and Ryan can agree, is really you haven't seen anything else, and that's my reaction. I'm not gonna take away from. I mean, I haven't seen Reagan. It's probably pretty good. I mean, Dennis Quaid, isn't he like one of the Trump appointed ambassadors of
I
Hollywood?
think he's like he's sought very highly, I should say. He's seen very highly from
So, uh, that could be playing into the opinion of the movie, but no, it's just like Yeah, a beekeeper has a strong hold, as well as a working man, as well as Liam Neeson has a strong hold on the blue collar working class man. It seems that demographic.
If my daughter was taken, I'd do the same thing.
I do
But
the same thing. Dude, if I was working on a construction site and I learned that my boss's daughter was taken, I'd do the same thing.
I don't even need the training. I just do it.
If I was an ex CIA operative that nobody knew about, and I had bees, and then a grandma had her 401k stolen, and then she killed
She
herself,
shot
I'd do
herself.
the same thing.
I,
Let's do the same thing,
I
man.
just love it's just so funny because it's like this is like what the blue collar man like this is what they fantasize about. They're like, no one knows I'm actually a former CIA operative, and they're just in their like S10, just lean back, just driving into their driving into their body shop. It's just so
I
funny.
mean, hey, man. I mean, what? Hey, you can dream.
You know, this is so the blue collar worker sees Jason Statham like you see Ryan Gosling. I'm so him, or
Yeah,
he's
and Jake Gyllenhaal
right, right, right.
and the others that are all me.
We're not making fun of the blue collar man. It's just a funny
No,
image.
yes.
I have a lot of family that Jake does too that are blue collar. We're not making fun of the blue collar.
No,
It's just a funny image.
it is, and it's. I think it's intriguing, just the hold that these movies have, because it really is just a shooter, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that people like Call of Duty. It's just, I don't know, kill people. It's easy. Like there's not a lot of thought. Like what do I want to do when I get home?
Watch Jason
Watch
Statham
somebody.
kill somebody,
Yeah,
you know?
dude. I don't want to watch some kissy drama. I don't want to have to like think through an A24 film, because trust me, man, those can go over your head pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
I just want to watch Liam Neeson, Jason Statham, The Rock punch people, kill people. So
And on that note, we're going to finally end this segment because man, did we ramble on. So coming up after the break, we might have a quicker main topic segment because we have a I was going to do what we just did for our main topic because I didn't do a ton of research. I did another one of those talking points and just was going to have us ramble. But we don't need to do that again. Otherwise, we'd be here for 3 hours. So we're going to go ahead and go to the break. So coming up after the break, we talk about the potential impact of a Chinese ban, if one comes, on American-made films. And the topic of AI in cinema continues as it usually does on this show. Stick around. And welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for sticking around this far. It's kind of, again, it's always kind of crazy. I usually get to the 50-minute mark and I'm like, thank you for sticking around. Well, we're at the 50-minute mark of the recording, probably 45 for you at home. And I'm just going to say thank you for, like just lumbering through our first segment that we just talked about everything from box office news to, is my phone a part of me now? So thank you. Thank you. Moving on. So we're going to go ahead and just talk about, as you heard before we went to the break, we got two main topics. I want to just start because we're in a weird state in terms of everything right now. The world's a crazy place. To just put it bluntly, Trump is tariffing everybody. And because
even the Penguins.
Even the Penguins. And because of that, everything got more expensive and the stock market was like teetering over the edge. It's like in those really corny movies where they're like driving towards a cliff edge and they like turn the car and it like teeters on two wheels and and then it falls back over. That's what we did this past week. And then it recovered. And now you've got one side of the political equation going, SEC, investigate that man. Stock market manipulation, and now here we are. Who knows what's going to happen? But one group of people in particular that our president despises the most is the Chinese people. Man, does he hate China. And that in particular is a problem for cinema because one of the biggest markets for all of Hollywood is the Chinese Film Association, which is not taking lightly that their government is being tariffed to hell from our government. Right now, the tariffs are at what, like 50 something as things stand, and our lovely president's like, let's up it to 125. So you've got two sides of the equation here. What's happening? I don't know if you've ever seen two turkeys go at it, like they're fighting for like usually in mating season, like they puff up their chest, so they're just banging, like they're like hitting against each other, like their chests. That's what's happening politically. And it's a scary time. With that, with all this going on, one of the things in the way, as I said earlier, was the movies, because the Chinese government said, we'll just we'll stop importing United States made films. And all of Hollywood went, no, no, please. And so that's where we are. So Jake, I just want to hear your perspective. I want to know, like, there's a lot of like hoopla. It was going to happen, and now it's like now you're getting statements from the Chinese Film Association saying, well, we might not stop importing them, but it might impact our domestic audience's viewing of this film. So you might not make as much money, which is probably just a way to say we're not going to screen them, but we're going to, so what? Who knows? What do you think?
Yeah, we're not going to have as many screen times. We'll
Yeah,
still screen
not
them,
as
but we're
much
only going to screen them
marketing. Yeah,
3
like
times a day instead of 10.
yeah.
I don't know, but moderately reduce.
Uh, yeah.
But I, dude, I don't know. I'm not well vested in politics or even begin to understand what a tariff is. I could, but I don't know. I don't see it as something that really benefits me short term, but it will. I don't know. It's a slippery slope that I'm walking here. It's like some people will argue that this is the world that I need to know about and tariffs are important. And I'm like, yeah, but tomorrow when I wake up and go to my silly little media job, I don't need to know what a tariff is, I guess, is my argument. Like my day to day life, my world does not revolve around what I just got a notification for. Trump freezes 2.2 billion in grants to Harvard after the university defies its demands over campus protests. Like, okay,
Harvard's
but
apparently suing Trump as well. Like it's just this like that's another big
yeah,
thing. But anyway, continue.
but I don't go to Harvard and I'm not Trump. So I don't know. That's just kind of like, yes, I see it. I'm aware of it. Yes, I see that China's considering reducing or outright banning films from the United States. I see that, and I'm like, okay, I'm not in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and I'm not in China,
Yeah.
but it is interesting. I mean, but however, if the United States started reducing and banning films from outside countries, which I don't even think we see a lot from outside countries anyway, which is another can of
Isolationism and
worms.
who and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're looking out and we're like, hey, those guys aren't playing films from other countries. They're communist and they're and then we're kind of like, wait a minute, when was the last French film that I've seen? When was the last?
Not from 1965, right?
Yeah,
Like
when was the last film I saw that wasn't an American film? Huh?
that is kind of a funny. That's kind of how dare you not allow our films over there? I've never watched a Chinese film. I'll tell you right now. I have
I mean,
never.
Nasa was about the only one I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. No. I I I see your
Not
points.
even see it.
I
But
see
yeah.
your points, but I do disagree with some to an extent, and it's my perspective is just different, right? So a tariff, I don't want to mansplain, and I'm going to get called a liberal regardless of what I say. So a tariff is just a tax on a country,
Yep.
right? So it's like you import it, the tariff is there a tax to say give us more money. However, to counter that, wherever you're adding taxes to is just going to charge us more to buy that.
Yep.
So it's like if we're getting stuff from, let's just say like we're buying avocados from Mexico and we have a ton of tariffs and it costs more to export those avocados, they're still going to sell us the avocados. They're just going to upcharge what each avocado price is. And then guess who's going to be paying the end of it? It's say if Walmart's buying the avocado from a Mexican like farm, right? Walmart's still going to pay the price to get the avocados and they're just going to upcharge their customers. So the last time we
Yep.
tariffed was the Great Depression. like the tariffs and were in large part what caused like the Great Depression was going to happen. The stock market was like on its heater anyway. But then we tariffed thinking that would get us money in the 1930s and it didn't work. That's that I guess late 1920s. So here we are again and we're facing a lot of the same issues. Tariffs don't work. And I'm not saying that from a political standpoint. I'm saying that from a historical standpoint. You screw your political alliances and go look at history because it doesn't work. And why you I think you should be paying like not that sounds so pompous. Not you should be paying attention, but like why it does impact you is because
But what am I gonna do? I mean, I
well
can't,
that's the thing.
and this is gonna get political. It's like Well, if I really need avocados, Ryan, I'm not gonna not buy avocados.
I know, but see, I guess like, see, this is where my perspective is a little different with this stuff because it's like it's so easy to have learned helplessness as one individual, right? And to say I
Yeah.
can't do anything, but it's you that
What?
has to say something or do something about it. You know, it's like it's you that has to call your local representative. It's you that has to go out and yeah, protesting works. You know, like it's you that has to go do something about it. You know, like it's you that has to go and boycott if you have to boycott. You know, like that's where I do disagree. Is like, yeah, like on the surface it's super easy to say what am I supposed to do, but that's how things change. Is one person decides to do something, and that's when you get people to follow. So
Yeah.
I disagree in the sense of it does impact you. You just haven't seen it yet. You know, like I know groceries are more expensive for me. An egg carton now costs like $5, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And you know what I have done? Not bought eggs.
See, there you go. Like, and
That's
that's
that's pretty much it. That's all I really necessarily change about my life
now
going
I'm not
forward. Is
saying to
just
go
like,
out and
oh yeah,
riot. I'm not saying to go out and
but
riot, but
and there are times and places, and I'm not at that unrest yet. I guess is like I will always have to buy gas to make it to work. I will always, if I want eggs, if I really, really want to bake a cake, I guess that's going to be an expensive ass cake.
right.
But
See,
I don't
and
know. Like I live my life. What matters to me is not the grand scheme. I am one day at a time level, um, because truly, I mean, I have the mentality, and it's probably the wrong one. Is like I'm just me. And to be fair, there are others who will take it way further than I ever will. And that is why that they are the ones who will have the protests, and I will not be there.
and I don't like that's not a wrong perspective, right? Like
Right.
I don't want like that's like the opposite of what I guess I'm trying to say is that like I don't want my perspective because the thing is too is that like not only do I have like my perspective just in terms of how I perceive is different from yours, but also we talk about Harvard, and we talk about I work in higher education, right? Like
Mhm.
I've never not worked for a university of some sort in my professional career. So to see the highest of the high in my field be targeted
Mhm.
is scary. You know, like there's a reason for that, and I truly like when one person or a group of people want to control somebody or to control a larger group of people, some of the first things to go is education because education is the ultimate tool. It's the sharpest knife. If you know how to fight something, if you know the proper way, if you know the most intelligent way of counteracting something, you're going to counteract it. You know what I mean? You get rid of the history, you get rid of the education. That is how you defeat something. That's how you have, like you talk about, everyone talks about, you're just a sheep. You're just one of many. That's how you get that is you limit education. And so I don't see this as like the whole thing with like Harvard, and we talked a little bit about it. I don't see that as so much of a move to like try to save funds as much as they want to say it is. I feel like that's a move to try to wield power over higher ed as much as they can. Because if you're going to try to wield power over education, you take the head of the snake off, and that's you attack the Ivy Leagues of the nation. You know, and that's
Mhm.
exactly what they're doing. Yale had to beg for hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. You know, Harvard's now having to do it, and they're suing the federal government for that funding. The Department of Education, the entire reason that it exists in this moment, or the person the Linda McMahon, who is appointed, was to destroy it. Not because they can destroy it, but because they can death by 1,000 cuts to the department to make it irrelevant. Because technically the department was made by Congress, and the president can't just undo a congressional act. So
Mm.
I I have strong opinions, and this is again this is a little off topic. The point is to paint the perspective politically is to also paint the perspective of what's going on in cinema, right? Like you have to know what's going on, and I have very strong opinions. Like I said, I'm going to be called a liberal regardless. I like to think I lie rather central, but being a person who works in my field and has my perspectives, right? I
Mhm.
kind of I see what's going on, and it's scary, and I don't think it's unintentional. I think it's very purposeful. And I am very against it. But point
I'll
is,
take the middle road, and I've seen something on TikTok where it's like nothing actually happens. Nothing ever happens. But I don't know. It's not affected me at
until
all.
the was it the 22nd Amendment gets repealed, and then Trump's like third term, and then Obama comes out of like the shadows.
Yeah.
Yes, it's my time. That would be That'd be like it's like WWE at that point. Like you'd have like, by God, it's Obama. Like those music hits and
Well, maybe that's what we need to do is make the presidents fight.
like oh my God. Yes. WrestleMania is around the corner. Can you imagine?
Yeah, yeah, we could. Well, they're all 70 plus.
No, listen. Obama's like 60s, right? Like hard
Yeah.
push in. Obama's music hits. Hard push in on Trump. He's like, and here comes Obama running down the ramp. I'm so here for it. That'd be so funny. But anyway, the point is that going back to film, this would be a major hit. We're already discussing how this year in general has been a rough year until a Minecraft movie. And I would love to see how much of that came from Chinese theaters. Because I bet a lot of that global money came from Chinese theaters. And so
Can't we see?
I don't know.
See that?
I've never, usually when I've looked at it, it just says international, but it does. Hold on. So market.
Yep. Hong Kong was only 1 million.
Okay, so not as much as I would have thought.
China was 20 million.
20 of their 400. That's a decent sized chunk. Now it's not as much as I would have thought, but that is still that's still a rather large market. If they lose 10%, that's a huge decline in revenue.
Yep.
In a field in an industry that's already every day, it feels like it's the end of times because we didn't make our quota. So I don't know. I feel like this will be a huge. We might not see an outright ban, but to hear our domestic audience might not enjoy your films as much because they're mad at you. I read through that. You read through that. They're just not going to show it as much. And
so they're gonna. That's the domino effect of not showing as much American film, and then more people in China become radicalized by the Chinese films. And then we're back to the Red Scare and then war.
Yeah,
if you really want a slippery slope domino effect, that is you restrict outside beliefs.
Yeah.
Limiting our French films.
I mean, dude, I think we're already kind of beyond that because like there are documentaries and like I feel like I don't know where I've heard this, but like there are reports, and I'm gonna call them like reports, that the youth in China don't know about Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
That's not something their government allows them to learn, so they have no idea. So they're just being raised and taught that their government is just perfect.
Yep.
It's like we're already there, dude. Like talk about like I think we're beyond.
Don't they heavily edit films anyway?
They restrict certain. Yeah, I think that there's like certain things that they like. There are cuts for those markets. Like like dude, like companies do that. Like Starbucks in the Middle East is just a crown. Like they don't have like the mermaid lady because they're the whole thing with the hair. So it's like, and I guess just women. But yeah, I mean like if companies will change their entire branding to fit a market, who's to say a film won't cut out said joke here?
Or whole character. Don't they change entire posters?
I mean, I'd assume they'd have to.
Because China doesn't like black people on their movie posters.
Oh God, that I don't know.
You don't know about that?
I'm wiping my hands clean of that. I don't know. It's shock. I know contrary to popular belief, I don't know everything about the Chinese. the Chinese.
Come on, Ryan. You gotta be our resident
market.
Professional.
No, don't call me that. Anyway, I can't even pronounce Novocaine, and you're calling me your professional in residence. That's a problem. Anyway,
well, for China.
For China.
Not for vocabulary and grammar
or anything else.
Just for China.
The Chinese film market. We're going to go ahead and quickly move down the line. Not as long of a discussion. We're going back into AI. And Jake, you're going to lead this topic of discussion because you're the one who sent me the video earlier today that started this conversation. And I think it's a really interesting point you made in our ye old LinkedIn DMs, because that's where we find some of our interesting topics is on LinkedIn. So
I was scrolling upon LinkedIn, my normal duties, believe it or not. I work in media, so I'm allowed to see what other people are doing on LinkedIn, learning from it. I scroll by this anime that was done by an 11-year-old and her father. No team, no budget, just a vision and the use of AI. Um, Basically, choosing the visual style, bringing the images to life, adding voices and sound effects, and composing the soundtrack. Full length anime style film conceived and executed by a young creator using AI as her co pilot, likely all animated using AI. Um, I asked Ryan uh, a unique rebuttal, right, to paying artists and hiring animators rather than using AI and AI being the devil in the room. Um, because putting animators and artists out of work, that's the argument that people have against AI. Now, now we're working with an 11-year-old girl and her dad who don't have the budget to hire an animator or an artist who might not even do it pro bono because they don't even believe in it. Now that story can be told with that avenue.
Mm.
And I'm not going to say that like the anime and the short clip that they attached to this post was breathtaking and I couldn't tell it was AI. No, I mean like it's straight up the indie film. Like this was put together with no budget whatsoever. Um, but that's a path that they took to get something that they were passionate about and they had a vision for and got to tell the story through the use of AI. Um, it's just a unique way to think about having stories told in a world that shuns this what I think is a tool. Um, I use it almost every day at work, um, just for random things. I use it at home to teach me how to fix record players.
Mm-hmm.
Generally it's right. Um, I just wonder if it's the movie industry's reluctance to learn to use this as a tool properly, to have maybe even guidelines in place, because I'm not seeing movement in my view. I don't see the movement to place the guidelines and to use it as a tool. They are, I believe, hiding behind the guise of safeguarding the arts. We are safeguarding the arts by not allowing AI to be used in film, when I think that's probably one of the most detrimental things that anybody can do is be complacent and or avoidant of AI as a tool. um, I'm always looking to like progress and learn technology. You said it before earlier in the podcast, Ryan. We are the generation of technology. We have never not known a screen.
Mm-hmm.
So to shun AI is, I think, very dangerous, and I think it will soon be the next Google. I really think that's going to be the next search engine in the near future. It's not going to be Google it. It's going to be to have you ask chat.
Well, I mean, you Google something now, and the first thing you get is an AI conglomerate of a bunch of
Right.
different results. Yeah.
And that's practically what ChatGPT does when you ask it the question. It combs the same way. So, and I know the back end from my job is Google crawls. It's called crawls and indexing your pages. It reads every single piece of text on a website. And because an AI is so fast, computer based, it reads all of that in instance. Now, combine that times it by 10, it's reading the top pages, the top thought leaders, the top links that you would click on in a Google search anyway, compiles all of that, summarizes it, and feeds it back to you with, it's reading forums, it's learning what works for people, what doesn't. Like a
Yeah.
forum, questions asked, answers given.
Yeah.
The person comes back who asked the question is like, yes, this worked, and then
Yeah.
chat's going to take that and give it to you,
And oftentimes it'll have a link to that original
and
source as
it'll
well.
source it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a common use case for me and how I use it. And I just think that like if you're not using it at least in that capacity, you're going to be left behind next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how insane this is going to be, and it's already at that level. I really I'm passionate about this because I know people who are so adverse to the idea of using it at all.
Yeah.
And I worry because I care. Like I care about them, and like you're not going to survive
Yeah.
without some way using this.
Yeah, and to bring this back, because I completely agree. I think that at some point you need to, and like I know I also work in media, but I'm more on the social side, less like marketing, but more of like content creation. And I know I use the AI to help inspire me. Like if there are times where like
Yes.
if I'm creating a design, because that's I'm asked to design social media posts all the time. It's like, what do I want this to look like? It's like I could throw something together and take an hour to really flesh out what I want, or I can open Adobe Express, hit their AI option because they have a really good AI option. Type out exactly what I want, a flyer that's about musical theater with X element, right? Hit enter and it will pop up 4 templates. If I don't like something, I scroll I hit design or generate more. I hit one that I like, it will pull up 4 options in that design that look somewhat similar that have maybe different elements. And a lot of times the thing is, I will press one of those. What I end up with will not look anything like it, but it will have some elements in it that were obviously of inspiration, right? Like nothing. If
Yep.
you compared anything I've posted or sent out on these official socials to what I got the AI to pop out, you would never know that one inspired the other because they're so like varied. But it helps me in my creative process not to create for me, but to give me the inspiration to pull what because the thing is too is where it's AI, it does exactly what you're talking about. It combs what other people and what other places, which is a lot of what we do, is like what are other places doing? How can I reappropriate that to work for my area? And that's what the AI is doing. It's saying, okay, like what does another poster for a musical theater about William Shakespeare, what does that look like from another source? And it will pull from like LA, it'll pull from UCLA, USC, or all these big, or wherever, and it will say, oh, they look like this. Here is a concept. That looks kind of like what I'm thinking. Let me pull it. Let me design it. Doesn't look anything similar, but it looks really professional. So
Mhm.
I could not agree more with everything you're saying. Like you have to appropriate it in some way because
Yeah.
like especially in our field in media studies or in media, you have to learn how to use it at least as a tool, not as like do your work for you, but as a tool. But to go back to film, I think it's a mixture of everything you said in one other element. So I think it does. I think at some point it is safeguarding jobs. I think that there are genuine people who, because like the thing is that like the average producer doesn't care, but I do think it's like the industry is changing so much that like I don't want these people that I'm so used to working with to not have a job. So they're trying to defend their job. I do think it's a reluctance to change. I think that's the biggest one. I think that the opposite part of it is that like it's just like I don't want to use AI. But I think the bigger part of it is that because it's new, there's always resistance to new. If you go back, we're film nerds, right? When the talkies,
I don't like fire.
when
Like
the talkies
caveman.
came around, or when the talkies, not
Yeah.
talkies, not the chip, when talkies, like when silent films were becoming irrelevant and sound was being in more included in film, they called them the talkies. There was a big pushback from cinema to completely do away. They did not want to lose their Charlie Chaplins and their Buster Keatons. That was a thing then. And now look at us. We couldn't dream of a film that didn't have a score. Could not
Yeah.
dream of a film that didn't have some dialogue. Flow with being an exception. It's just like, so it's this idea, like I think that mainly it's like, okay, we want to protect the arts. I think the other part of it is we want to protect our job. But primarily, it's new. And you got these old heads that are running it that are scared because they know that they have to change. Like, think about the major producers or the major production houses. They have not had to change how they do things for at least 50 years. The biggest difference, the only difference I would argue, outside of like, let me say it like this. Their biggest difference is to go from, let's just say, to digital film. Right? Like instead of using actual reel, they went to film. But that doesn't change how you shoot. You know what I mean? Like that's like the way that you block a shot is all gonna be the same, regardless if you're shooting on a digital camera or using actual film reel. I would argue.
Yeah.
So that's not that big of a change in the last 50 years. It's a big change, but it's not that big of a change. It's not changing how you're doing your work, your job, right? This is completely revolutionizing how we perceive content creation. And I think that's where you have the biggest fear. And I think the only thing that you can attribute this to and relate it to is the incorporation of dialogue and actual like spoken word in film back in the 30s and the 20s with the talkies.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about like with the recent Oscars and the Brutalist and then Amelia Perez is now that I think about it, it's kind of like yeah, they used AI for accent and singing. However, who's to say that there isn't a professional out there that like couldn't have done that what the AI had done? So there is a level, yes, you did not hire him or them to do that job. However, if AI did it, but it could have been done by a person, I don't understand the other than putting someone out of a job. You used AI to do something that could have been done without it. I see that as a use of a tool
Yeah.
to get the job done.
I'm
Now, I
okay.
didn't hire the guy to do it
Yeah.
because I did not hire a guy who knows how to use a hammer because I found a hammer and used it myself.
Right. Like you
That is like how I'm thinking about it. Is like, yeah, I can pitch up Amelia Perez or pitch down or what you know.
that's a little different. Like I think that's where you get into some semantics because I do think there has to be some guidelines. I listen. I'm okay with these Oscar-winning films because that's where it's going to be the biggest debate is like awards. That's like really it. Because
Yeah,
the thing, like what my response to your question in our chat earlier today was, you're going to have film purists, but the thing is that
yeah,
those film purists are going to be me and you. You know, like the average Joe, they will not care that their script was written 60% by AI and you had a human go through and make it legible so it didn't sound like AI for 40%. They're not going to care. You know, they're going to watch it because they like what they're watching, right? As long as the quality is to the standard of the viewer that is taking in that media, they are not going to care what's AI and what's not, right? Now, if their CGI was all AI and it looked terrible, yeah, you're going to get backlash. People are going to be pissy about it. But like if it looked perfect, are they going
yeah.
to care?
Not the average, not the people who actually pay the bills.
Exactly.
Not
So
the yeah,
I think that in terms of award season, there has to be some dynamics in place that's like, tell us if you used AI and how. Because I will disagree in the sense of if Amelia Perez and you have Gascon who played Amelia, if she can't hit that high note, that's fine. But she shouldn't win an award for winning or for hitting a high note, right? Like her performance
yeah.
was impacted directly, so she shouldn't have won best actress.
I can agree there that if there was, I mean that could be argued if even something as simple as pitch, if I have to pitch you up or down, I mean you can argue that that also is
That's
not
augmentation.
natural. That's
Yeah.
augmentation.
Yeah.
You did not actually sing it like
I
that,
agree.
you
I
know.
think if
So
you're
that's
getting
not even with
awards,
AI.
yeah. If you're winning awards, because that this is another differential. It's like if you're winning awards, you should win it because you did it, right? Like if you use AI as a tool, you're fine. But like if you're up for best screenplay and again, AI wrote 60% of it, you shouldn't win because you didn't write it.
Right.
That is where we get, but that again, that's award season. That is such a small, the average
And
everyday human does not care about the Oscars. They just don't. It's interesting to say, oh, who won? But at the end of the day, who can you tell me who won the 2021 Best Picture? Off the top of your head. You can't. You know, it's like
yeah.
no one cares. You know, like
So, and I would argue like I had 20 people write my screenplay and I put in to win for screenplay.
it's same difference. Yeah, like it would be you shouldn't win it in that case either. But in that case, it doesn't
All
matter.
20 should win if
Yeah,
not if I were to.
and the difference here is
But
that AI can't get an attribute. You know, like
right.
you can't attribute AI to that award.
I think there are ways to separate it from AI and say AI yes is another person. But like you don't need AI to not be somewhat considered
Now you're getting
not
into,
worthy,
oh no, AI great
right?
sentience. Oh no.
Right. Well, like it doesn't AI does not need to be attached to it to be worthy of winning an award. Like we've described. If I have to augment your singing for you to win an Oscar, you don't deserve the Oscar. If I
Yep.
have to have 20 people write my screenplay before I can win best screenplay, I don't need to be winning best screenplay.
Yeah.
And that's not even talking about AI.
Yeah. So
That's
so
talking about physical augmentation and taking the reward for 20 people writing.
yeah. So in
So
essence, the only way you can really pick apart AI bad, or I guess make the claim AI bad in cinema outside of people potentially losing jobs, which I don't think it'll be. I think jobs will just transform, right? I don't think.
I would say that more people become jacks of all trades.
Yeah, right.
I think it opens the door for everybody to have the plethora of a knowledge if they so desire it. There is no reason everybody shouldn't be on the level playing field
Yep.
anymore. There's no reason you shouldn't know how to fix a record player.
Yeah, or like
Like,
back to a film set to relate to what we're talking about. If you are a DP, you should also know how to grip.
yeah,
It's like if you know how to work that camera, you better have a utility tool, and you better be able to get up on a ladder and fix a light.
Yep.
And that's what the industry's headed to. And so I guess like back to the point is that like what we're differentiating here, and what really the only way you can look at AI and make the case of you shouldn't do this, you can also make the case just for every day. Again, if you're needing AI to write your script, it's the same thing as having someone else write your script for you, just as a human, right? So it's like, if that's the only case you have, is just our already established rules, it's just throwing AI lumped in with it, you don't have an argument. You wouldn't win if you let someone else write your screenplay, like you said, so you wouldn't win it anyway.
So I don't really honestly like that argument. You're right, is invalid, and it doesn't really work regardless of if AI was in there or not. It is truly the purest view that restricts it. But we can
Which,
talk all day
no, yeah.
about
In
AI,
some
right?
extent, I don't mind. Like in awards, you have to have a purist standpoint. Like as long as it's a tool, that's fine. But again, we'll move on because like you said. But yeah, as a tool, it's a wonderful thing. Like you just got to use it right. Which there'll always be people to abuse it, and that's why you have safeguards. But it's not as scary. The people who are saying it's scary and are perpetuating
Don't
that,
use it enough.
well, not just that, they're scared of the change, and they want everyone else to be scared of it too, because they don't want to change. That's what it is. And anarchy down with the. No, I'm just kidding. but you get what I'm saying. It's just like
I think it's just I think it is a level of I don't understand it, and I don't know how to use it, and I don't I fear it because I don't get how it can better my life.
They make too much money with how the things are happening now, and they don't want to have to learn and adjust because that would cost money. So it's like, yeah. Anyway, we could keep going, but we're gonna go ahead and move on because we're almost an hour and a half in, and we need to get through one more segment. So coming up after the break, we have your quickish hits, cinema news. You know what's coming. Stay there. And for the last time on your April 14th recording episode of Beyond the Screen, almost 90 minutes in, thank you for coming back. Welcome to segment 3. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen.
We apologize for the what I'm gonna try to think of some of the weird word burger that we have given you guys in this podcast.
Like, this is the equivalent of like when you're in class and they're like, I need a 3-page essay, and you write them a 12. Like this is what's happened. Yeah. That's
and at that point, the professor's kind of like,
A+.
C.
Yeah.
No, there's many a professor who's like, you went over, dog. Like I asked for 3, you gave me 12.
Please keep watching. Please keep watching.
Yeah, learn the prompt. Read the prompt. But yes, we appreciate you sticking around this long and just listening to us ramble. We hope our opinions either make you want to protest and or listen to a next episode. What I don't know. As long as we're not boring to you, that I think is the main goal. And don't tell me if we are because it'll hurt my feelings.
Well,
moving on.
Jake's a tear. I don't want to know. But
don't tell me. Don't tell me. Just come back for the next episode. We'll be better. I promise.
Blast our podcast while you're protesting as like some torture method to a politician, a poor politician. It's just me going, "Welcome to Beyond the Screen," and it's it's like it's just like.
And then we say chicken jockey and all the cringy stuff that the politicians don't even know to begin with.
Fine, I'll give you free healthcare. He's just yelling, "Stop playing the Beyond the Screen podcast." But yeah, thank you so much for sticking with us, and you're welcome for the political banter that you didn't ask for in your cinema news podcast.
Yeah, I will apologize that we did dive into a little bit more politics than we ever cared to get into.
I know, it's okay. You know what? It pertains. It pertains. That's the thing. It pertains. But give us a like, tell your mom about it, share, comment. Tell us what you think. And thank you. Thank you so
We
much for being
appreciate
here.
it.
We love you. Mwah. All right, moving down the line, we're going to do this. There's a few really interesting talking points here, but I kind of want to go through the majority of these and then look back. So I
Okay.
might stop after this first one because I think it's interesting. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to stop through the third one. So ignore what I just said. We're going to get through 3 and then we'll talk about them.
He
So,
doesn't even know what he's gonna do.
you know what? I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. I don't have a script in front of me. I'm making this
But
up.
he's just not even wearing pants.
Uh,
He's not wearing pants, guys.
you don't know. Anyway, we have official HBO Max Harry Potter series cast. The first 6 actors were officially announced by HBO for the upcoming Max series. They are as follows. A lot of these we already know, but we're going to go over them anyway because now they're official. John Lithgow is Dumbledore. Should have been Pierce Brosnan. I love you, John, but should have been Pierce Brosnan. Whatever. Whatever. Janet McTeer is Minerva McGonagall. Papa Acedu is Severus Snape. Nick Frost, who Jake is currently highlighting to look up. That is the biggest one, Jake. That is the biggest name on this list. You know exactly who this is. He's looking him up.
I do know who that is.
Nick Frost is Hagrid, which is awesome. Nick Frost, like the Simon Pegg sidekick, the one of the funniest duos, or one of the funniest duos in all of just cinematic history is Hagrid, which he's perfect for Hagrid. Luke Fallon is Professor Quirrell, and Paul Whitehouse is Argus Filch. So what do we think?
Oh man, Argus is not any younger than he was in the movie.
He looks the exact same.
he's still
Paul
somewhat
Whitehouse
of an
looks
older
just
fella.
like, yeah.
So
I like all of them.
yeah, I think it's gonna. I still really want to see Severus Snape. I want to see what they do.
He's a good looking guy.
D handsome bro. How do you unhandsomeify?
I love that your critique of this man is that he's hot. Jake's like, you're too good looking, man.
Okay. We might have a photo. I'm gonna send it to Ryan. Actually, I don't know how to send it to Ryan. Maybe I can actually just add it to the script.
Shoot it my
Tell
way,
me-
and I'll throw
Tell me
it.
if you see this.
Yeah, I'll throw it. I'll throw it in the.
You can see that, right?
That's a pretty good. That fits.
To be fair,
We're also seeing John Lithgow as Dumbledore, and he fits too. That's
I,
AI. Isn't
I
it?
don't know. That
That's-
looks like Merlin. I don't think this is real.
No, this is definitely AI, but that's okay. But he would fit. I feel like also this image on the right, which again you'll see on your screen, he's a little bit chunkier than the real actor is in this image.
Yeah, I think it's AI. I'm gonna say it is.
That looks like AI.
But he put on a few pounds, or AI put a few pounds on him to fit Snape, I guess. But it works. Like
He looks
this
good.
image.
Yeah, he looks. He genuinely looks like the character.
Yeah, I mean he looks oily and just overall
Papa.
not a good looking fella. So I don't know. And then John Lithgow is just Merlin. Like the famous wizard back in the Arthur's King Court, right?
Yeah.
Merlin's beard, Merlin the wizard. He's literally wearing the stars and moon hat, like the blue wizard hat. The generic.
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire, Harry?
Which is an interesting take on Harry Potter.
Yeah, I know.
Let's really lean into the historic cartoon wizard vibe.
What if we just hit every stereotype ever?
Works for me.
Moving on, we're going to go ahead and jump through here. Oscars Best Stunts category is announced. We're finally having it. Fall Guy, the Ryan Gosling film, Jake's over there like, yes, actually made a difference. Because I think that was like the whole point of the film was to be like, give us an award. And now they have one starting for 2027 films. So I guess it's going to be in 2028 before we see anything to do with this award, because they're not doing it next year. I don't know why they're not starting this in 2027. I get why they're not starting this next year, like in the 2026 Oscars, but why not do this for the 2026 films? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, I would have said, and the director and producer David Leitch, you said, or I don't even know if you even mentioned that, but David Leitch was leading the initiative in this article that you tagged on here, but he directed and produced, I believe, Fall Guy, Bullet Train, and Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
Which Fall Guy and Bullet Train, I loved Bullet Train. I don't care what anybody else says.
it was
I
good.
enjoyed that film.
Good.
And yeah, it had stunts that I think would be in the running if this category had been in the
Oh,
Oscars in previous
this
years.
guy he would have already been a multi-time because he was a former, if I remember correctly, he was a former stuntman and he probably would have won multiple had that been a thing, which is shocking that
Right.
it's not to this point, but whatever.
But
Another
yeah,
one is
and then
Chad
Fall
Stahelski
Guy
of John Wick.
secondarily and would be another one. I don't think they came out the same year, right?
No,
So
the fact that
yeah, so that
the
one would also won, I think.
the fact that we don't have like stuntmen or women like stunt peoples as like home like
Stunt thems.
stunt days.
Sorry.
No, it's
Yeah.
okay. But like we don't have stunt like just coordinators like as household names like we do actors when they're probably doing 90% of what we have the actor that we attribute to that role is like their actions. They're 90% of what they're doing on screen. So this will curve that and I'm excited for it because they really like outside of like Keanu who's out there in his frail frame like chopping necks and popping kneecaps is like
I was gonna say, yeah, he knee hurts now.
yeah. Let's be real here. Tom Holland's not under that mask. You know what I mean? Who's like I know it's mostly CGI, but who's performing the stunts when
Well,
it's
to
not?
be fair, I mean, he's got the gymnast background. It's not like he couldn't do the backflip. Didn't he throw his back out doing the backflip
I
though?
think Tom Holland might have been a bad example, but I know he's like he's historically had
You just
he's
picked the most athletic
but he's
gymnast guy.
famously had a stunt double. Is like the point.
But
Like
yeah.
like they're talking like in the next time we see Spider-Man, if he's in the Avengers film, it's going to be not Tom Holland because Tom Holland's filming the other Spider-Man. It's like that's like
Yeah.
what they talk about. So it's like that's why I picked him is because I know that's historically. But yeah, maybe Tom Holland was a bad example. But why not? Like, do you like? You can't say Tom Cruise, you can't say Keanu Reeves, and maybe you can't say Tom Holland. But like, you really think Wesley
You
Snipes
think
is
Liam Neeson's doing all that at a ripe age?
72? I think
Yeah,
maybe. Anyway,
maybe.
going down the line, Warner Bros. Producers Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi confirm via Deadline that Minecraft 2 and Beetlejuice 3 are in the works, with DeLuca stating, quote, the ink might not be dry on the deals yet, but imminently. Abdi continued by describing a litany of upcoming projects from the major production house, stating, quote, Andy Serkis doing the Gollum film, Drew Goddard writing the new Matrix, new entries in the Gremlins and Goonies franchises. Why the Goonies? Leave them alone. Okay, anyway, Cat in the Hat and the second Doctor Who's adaptation, John M. Chu is co-directing. There's really great stuff on the horizon. So I will say I wrote that and then I quickly did research because I was like, who's Pam Abdi and who's Michael DeLuca? Abdi is the CEO of Warner Brothers Entertainment, and DeLuca is the chairperson of Warner Bros. So I don't know why Yahoo and Deadline were just like, yeah, they're just producers. These are two of the highest higher ups in the company you
Yeah.
could have. And like outside of David Zaslav himself, right? What are you talking about? Producers. Thanks, guys. Anyway, yeah. Why? like,
So you just spat out several films, right? To the audience here to chat. All right, chat. I'm gonna go
Clip
through
that.
what Ryan's rambled on. Number one, Gollum film, Lord of the Rings Gollum film.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, sure. That's another avenue we can flesh out this world with. 100% all for it. Gremlins, another Gremlins movie.
I'm
How
okay with
long
that.
has it been since we had a Gremlins movie? Depending on where it fleshes out the world building. If it's just going to be another Gremlins movie, it's kind of like, okay. Goonies. Why are we touching the Goonies? Because number one, that story was told start to finish, no real, unless you start telling it from one-eyed Willie's perspective, and we get to see the prior, you know, how One-Eyed Willie came to rest wherever they were in Maine, wherever they were.
Leave it
But
alone.
yeah, Gremlins and Goonies, I can't get behind. I can't get behind Matrix necessarily either, unless it's completely different. I'm all for world building. It has to be so much of a different story instead of just the same old for me to get behind it. That's why I'm weary of Matrix. I'm weary of Gremlins. I'm weird. There's no way Goonies is going to be anything other than just copy paste.
Yeah.
Um, Cat in a Hat. Uh, I still don't know. I don't know. I want to see another Mike Myers. Like honestly, I enjoyed the first one. That's why I'm like I would be into a second one, New Kids or something, you
What?
know?
So I as we talked about Gollum, leave the Matrix alone. The last Matrix with Keanu did not do well. Like it just wasn't
Yeah.
received. So just let it die. The Gremlins is interesting, mainly because, and I forget the director that was tied to that, but it's a pretty big name director that's tied to the Gremlins. I was just reading that they're using practical effects for it, and people are excited. The last real installment into the Gremlins franchise was 1990, and I think I saw that there was an animated TV show about it, like from 2023 to today. So it's like it's kind of making a comeback. It's just a beloved family franchise that's just one of those that you'd sit down with your parents and watch, right? I'm okay with that, especially if they do it right. Leave the Goonies alone. It's perfect. Unless you have Steven Spielberg with I'm gonna take Jim Carrey's line here. If it's not a golden crested script with Steven Spielberg handing it down from the heavens to whoever he wants to pass this along to, because I don't think he'd direct it, I think he'd produce it. Unless that's what's happening, do not let it like.
I mean, doesn't it have to be like their kids
Yeah,
at the
like
very
they're
least to
maybe their
somewhat make it
grandkids at this
work?
point. Yeah, like they're just don't. Anyway,
Yeah.
Cat in the Hat. They're talking about. I've read somewhere that Bill Hader was attached to be the cat. And dude, I love Bill Hader. Like
It might work out. It might work out.
I loved the Mike Myers. Like it just I cannot believe that film flopped because that film is so funny. Like it is just it's
Yeah.
genuinely like I get it looks weird and I get it's goofy, but it is absolutely hilarious. Like I have that image, it like just staying just it is literally like just impressed, like it's in my head, I should say, of Mike Myers with the bat about ready to absolutely kill that kid as the cat, and it is such a funny image, and I love it. Like that is such a comfort movie, and it's so funny, and I laugh every time. I love Bill Hader. That is the one person you can put in that role and make me say yes, if it is Bill Hader, like Flint Lockwood energy, but like with a little bit more confidence as the cat is just.
Oh, like I'm talking about implied domestic violence against children.
It's gonna be so
This
funny.
is what you're getting. Is what you're
Please.
getting at. That's funny apparently to Ryan. No, I'm kidding. But it
Dude.
really is. I mean, like the baseball bat or like the I don't remember what he says, but he's like cooking or something. He's
He
like,
chops his
and
tail.
I'll get you, and
Yeah.
I'll make it look like a bloody accident. It's like, okay. All right, all right.
I love it.
Funny.
I love it. And but yeah. And then John M. Chu, quality director, have no idea what they're talking about with a second Dr. Seuss adaptation. John M. Chu's like a musical guy. Like he did Wicked, and so
We'll see. We'll see.
Continuing. We're gonna get two really quickly. Robert Pattinson is in discussion to star as the main villain in the next installment in the Dune franchise, Dune Messiah. If this pans out, Pattinson's potential filming schedule for this year, if everything sticks, because there's a lot of rumors swirling around about Batman 2, it could be The Odyssey, Dune 3, and Batman 2. What a legendary lineup.
Awesome.
What a
2025
legendary.
is crazy for bro.
Yeah, if that sticks. Moving on to Sinners, we got Ryan Coogler's upcoming horror film debuting on Rotten Tomatoes. As of right now, it's got 45 reviews, 100% from Rotten Tomatoes. That is ridiculous. That's crazy. 100%.
Those 45 reviews are just glazers.
You probably. Oh,
those are the diehard fans. That
Coogler. Oh my God.
Coogler.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. The moms.
Well, what doesn't help is that a lot of the reviews are like, it's so sexy. It's so sexy.
It's the mom. It's 30 of the 45 are moms, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's two Michael B. Jordans.
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
But I will say something that was really interesting, and I have to give Coogler his praises here. In a recent interview I'm going to start watching this YouTube channel because I had no idea it existed, and I looked it up, and it actually looks really interesting. It's a guy by the name of Straw Hat Goofy's Movies, and he goes through and he watches films and he discusses them and he interviews some big names, and he seems like a personality. And I've never heard of him before, but it does seem like it's a fun a fun channel, and that's going to be probably my next hyperfixation is like, oh, he posted. So I love everything that this guy is portraying on his internet in terms of his internet persona, I guess. In that interview, I should say, Ryan Coogler described how the portrayal of death in the 2022 animated hit Puss in Boots: The Last Wish heavily inspired characters in this film, stating, quote, "Think about the villain Death, his defining features, the eyes, his demeanor." And that is portraying in a more adult, because the thing is, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was very adult. It felt very real. Like, it was like the death. And like, I loved it so much because it was like, here's your fairy tale. These kids, because like, I think it spoke to me, and like, I don't know about you, Jake, but like our age, because it's like we grew up with this character. And here we're faced with the reality as adults. Hey, even Puss in Boots has 9 lives. You know, he runs out. And it's just like, it's so human and it's so real and it's just lovely. So the idea in Death was the perfect villain. So the idea that these characters are portrayed and inspired by what you could only attribute to perfection is exciting for me. This is the latest installment, Back to Sinners, into a legendary run in filmmaking thus far from Coogler, as Sinners is obviously his highest rated film yet, but his lowest rated film is Wakanda Forever at an 84. He's had 5 films. All 5 films were 84 or up. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's a crazy run.
He's on a hot streak.
Yeah, that like who could we say has a better run outside of Christopher Nolan, right? Like, but that's got to give Coogler his flowers. I might be one of the 45, white moms at home going, "Oh, Ryan, what a movie." But I think that that's a crazy run, and I'm excited. Everything about this film makes me excited. And lastly, The Last of Us Season 2 premiered last night as of recording, probably 2 nights ago when you're watching. Oh my God. I love it. I didn't really write a lot for this because I just wanted to kind of have like a quick open discussion, but we're already almost 2 hours deep.
And I'll tell you that I know nothing about The Last of Us. So it's going to be a pretty short one. You're right. I cannot speak too much about it. If you want to ramble, I'll let you ramble and I'll just nod and act like I know what you're talking about.
It's different because we talk about things that have been out so much that we're like, yeah, just keep nodding. You make me feel really accomplished.
That's what I said I was going to do.
Yeah. Keep going. We talk about so many old films and that it's like, it's been out long enough. We'll spoil it. I cannot. This episode's been out for less than 24 hours, right? Like, I'm not going to do that to bro. You guys take a breath. I'm not going to spoil it. But Ellie is like a jerk, man. Like that's all I'm going to say is that there's a lot of really interesting plot points. I don't remember some of the things from the second game being in this first episode. So they're taking a little bit of a deviation. If my memory serves me right, which I could be wrong, and the Last of Us stands are out there going, you're wrong, which they probably will, because Joel is the most beloved character in all of PlayStation fandom, apparently, which I love Joel. Joel is fun. Pedro Pascal is absolutely nailing it. But yeah, Bella Ramsey's fantastic. Get off of her about not looking like the drawn character in a video game. So what, man? She personifies the character. She can look like whatever she wants. I think she's doing fantastic. But what the heck, man? Like, she's being an absolute jerk, and you'll understand when you watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Love The Last of Us, and you're going to hear about it every week for the next probably like 7 or 8 weeks as they continue to release episodes, and me just being like, ah! But yeah. Anything you want to say to our people before we let them go?
Dude, this is the time that I'm going to get emotional here and just say thank you for listening to one of our longest episodes ever. And we understand what that takes, because I've listened to 30-minute episodes and I'm like, man, that was rough, just because it was a rough episode to get through. So 2 hours worth of it, we really appreciate that. That means the world. Especially to guys who just started this on a whim that we wanted to do this again, so you don't get the spiel from me as much as you get it from Ryan, but this episode in particular, we really appreciate that.
Just say I'm a emotional sap, dog.
Well, I let it build up over 20 episodes, whereas you let it out every.
Thank you.
He can't keep it to himself, where I'm like, oh yeah, man, thanks for watching.
Yeah, I guess. Thanks, man.
I guess appreciate it, I guess.
But
so
I think that's a perfect stopping point. Thank you for allowing your emotions to run rampant. I will, as always, you're loved. Thank you. To be honest, I don't know how to end an episode like this. It's been so long and we've gone kind of everywhere. I guess the best way is just to goodbye.